Thanks for coming back to my channel, A Senior's Friend. I'm Anne. Today I wanted to talk to you about what I consider to be the 5 top reasons that you might want to consider a move to a retirement residence. It's a very, very difficult decision to come to the conclusion that it's time to give up your home that you have loved and lived in for decades in some cases. I have met with seniors who had their own home in the community for 50, 60, sometimes 70 years. You become so attached to your home, and it's very, very difficult to decide to leave it. I've met with some couples where one person was on board, yes, we need the extra help. And the other person said, I am not leaving this home. They're going to have to take me out of here in a pine box. So it is tough, and there's a lot of emotion around it. I know that. But the time comes for all of us when we need to accept the fact that we need some extra help. And you can get help in your home. We've talked about that in other videos about home and community support services. They have a lot to offer, and they can help people to stay in their home to a much later date than they used to. I think when I first started in retirement living, people tended to come to us. The average age of people moving into retirement was about 83 years old at the time. Now we see people in their mid to late 90s moving in and still saying, I think I'm too young for this place. I'm not ready to be here yet. So it's a tough decision. I'm hoping today I can help you with that. So the first thing that I would suggest that you consider is your safety. Are you having trouble navigating the stairs? Do you have area rugs, for example, in your home where the corners are curling, which would pose a fall hazard for you? How are you finding getting into the shower or having a bath? Are you finding it difficult to get into the bathtub, or are you worried when you're in the shower that you might slip and fall? Who's managing your snow removal? In Ontario, where I live, we can get a lot of snow in the wintertime, and it can get icy out there, and it can be very scary to walk out on a path or a sidewalk that's not had the snow removed. In a retirement residence, that's all taken care of for you. So these are some of the things that I think you should consider. The second area that I think that you should consider is your health care. Are you dealing with any chronic or critical illnesses that you're finding are becoming more difficult to manage? How are you dealing with your medications? I know a lot of people who get the pharmacy to put their medications in a blister pack, and it gives you the date when you're supposed to take them, and they're divided between the morning medications and the evening medications, and so you should just be able to pop them out of that little pocket and take them at the appropriate time. With that said, I have met with a lot of seniors who are very adamant that they were able to continue to do that on their own, did not need any help, and yet when we cleaned their room, we found pills in various places, under sofas, under chairs, tucked in drawers, hidden away, because they weren't remembering or taking them appropriately. And so that may be something that you need help with. The third thing that I would suggest you consider is your social life. As we age, the people that we knew, who knew our history, begin to pass away. Family members, friends. And I've had a lot of residents who, by the time they moved into our residence, had no friends left. They didn't have anyone left around them who knew their history. Yes, they had children and they had grandchildren, but there was no one from their era. There was no one who remembered things the way they did, who went to the dances that they went to, who went to the high school that they went to. No one that they could have a conversation about the politics that they remembered, for example. I remember a lady that, oh my goodness, I'll never forget this lady. When I met her, the very first day that I met her, she just astounded me. She was 107 by the time she passed away, and I think I met her at 104, I want to say. And she had all of her faculties. She loved politics. She had been a nurse in her young life. and she was a very staunch liberal. She would watch all of the politics in the afternoon, and she was a huge fan of the Trudeau family. And she said to me, "You know, dear, back in my day, there were only two political parties. If you were Catholic, you were liberal. If you were Protestant, you were conservative. That's it. That's all we needed. There was none of this NDP nonsense. There was none of this Green Party nonsense. Just those two political parties. That's all we needed." Every Remembrance Day, she would stand up and she would tell everyone at our service where she stood the day the soldiers came home from World War I, not even World War II. She remembered standing on Yonge Street in Toronto, holding her mother's hand, watching the soldiers coming home and marching up Yonge Street as they returned from World War I. She was amazing. But again, there's no one left that she knew from that time period who knew her history. And so what happens often is seniors become more isolated. They stay at home because there's no one for them to socialize with. And so by the time they come to us, I cannot tell you how many families have said to me, "Yes, my mother is moving in here today, and I know you have all of these great activities, but please know that my mother's an introvert and she's not going to participate in any of your activities." And I always smile and I always say, "Thank you for telling me, but that's okay. Because I promise you, in about 3 months' time, you're going to come back to me and you're going to say, 'Anne, I am shocked at how many activities my mother is involved in. I never reach her. I never get a hold of her when I call her in her room. She's never there.'" And that is because, and I always tell families this, that is because as great a job as the team members do at encouraging residents to join into the activities and come out of their rooms, what really does the trick is when they make friends. Very often, residents will sit at the same table with the same people in the dining room. They'll have their meals with the same people and they'll begin to make friends. And those friends are already involved in activities and they will encourage them. "Come on, I'm going to bingo. Come with me." And so then, after a little while, you see them start to become a little bit more comfortable, meeting more people. Retirement residences are great at buddying up new people with other residents who've lived there for a long time. They call it an ambassador program. And so they have ambassadors who kind of help to orientate a new resident to the building. And they do a great job. It amazes me. You would be astounded at how well these seniors take care of each other. When someone new flocks into the building or moves into the building, they flock around that person because they remember how scary it was for themselves to move into a new place where they didn't know anyone. And so they take very good care of each other. And they encourage them to come to activities and invite them to things. And before long, the resident that the family, whose family swore up and down they would never participate in anything, was coming to everything. So that's really important in my mind. That's a really important aspect of life. And so I think that's really something you should consider when you're trying to decide if it's right for you to move into a retirement residence. The fourth thing is your activities of daily living, daily tasks. How are you managing with cooking, for example, cleaning your home? Are you finding these things are becoming more and more difficult for you? I've met with some seniors who over time lost their ability to manage those types of things. And sometimes I've met with residents who were hoarders and their home just became so overwhelming for them that over time they really needed help to clear things out, to the point where for a couple that I've met with, it actually became unsafe for them to live in their home. I've met with other people who lost their ability to cook, just became disinterested in cooking. People who were great cooks, great chefs in their younger days when they had a family to take care of. All of a sudden, they stopped cooking. And over time, they started to lose weight, and the family started to notice that they were losing weight, and there were concerns about their nutrition. Were they getting enough nutrition? Because they just weren't eating. And so in a retirement residence, you don't have to worry about cooking. They do it all for you. And they're really great at accommodating various diet restrictions. I've had residents who had various illnesses like diabetes, and people who were gluten-free. I've had people who are vegetarians, and even had a couple of vegans. And the retirement residences are really good at accommodating those types of dietary needs. Normally what happens is when someone new moves into the building, the dietary manager will sit down with them and review, what do you like to eat? What do you not like to eat? Do you have any true dietary restrictions? Before someone moves into a retirement residence, there is a health assessment that is done by the health and wellness manager or the director of care, whatever title they're using. And they will determine, they will do the assessment to ensure that the home can provide the level of care that you need when you move in. So when they do this assessment, one of the things that they will talk to you about is, do you have any food allergies? Are there any restrictions, dietary restrictions, that the home should be aware of? They will pass that information on to the dietary manager so that he or she can ensure that your needs are being met. And normally, about once a month or so, the dietary manager will meet with all of the residents and kind of get a sense of, what do you like, what's working, what's not working, what would you like me to change on the menu. Usually, retirement residences will have a set menu with a couple of different alternates. They'll usually have 2 main entrees, so if you don't like one, you can choose the other. And if you don't like either of them, you can just ask your server, talk to them, and they will usually try to accommodate you with something different. They usually have kind of a set menu for about a 6-week time period, and then it flips. But they will meet with the residents, and they will find out, what do you like and what do you not like, and what should we change? And so you have some feedback in that, which is important. So that's a really big one as well. Your activities of daily living. Are you able to get yourself up in the morning and get dressed? Are you still brushing your teeth regularly? Your personal hygiene. These are all things to consider. And lastly, the fifth thing that I would say it's important to consider is, are you getting some concerns from your family? Do the family members have concerns about any of the areas that we've just talked about? Are they noticing changes in your personal hygiene, for example? Are they noticing changes in the cleanliness of your home? Talking to your family members about the changes that you're experiencing is really important. I'm a big proponent of making informed decisions for yourself as often as you are able, while you are still able to do that. What you don't want is to let things go and sweep things under the rug to a point where you're no longer able to make those decisions for yourself. And then someone you love needs to step in and make those really tough decisions for you. That can put a strain on the relationship, and it can put a strain on all of the family members. So I would encourage you to take the time to sit down, think about all of the things that I've shared with you today, and really decide for yourself if this might be a good time to start looking at, am I okay to continue living where I am? Or should I start looking at a place that can provide me with some more support? A retirement residence is a lot like living in your own apartment in the community, just with some extra support and added help. So there's someone there to do your housekeeping. They'll clean your room for you once a week. All of your meals are taken care of. Most homes will have a mode of transportation and take all of the residents out for activities, whether it be, a picnic or out to some sort of scenic tourist attraction. Sometimes they'll go out to a movie or go to a restaurant. There are all types of different things that they can do with you in a retirement residence. They do an awful lot of activities. They have a lot of entertainers who come in, and life really can be fun, and you can thrive in a retirement residence. The other thing to consider is if you're thinking about it and you're not quite sure, you can do a short stay with them. Most retirement residences, in fact, I've never heard of one that did not offer this. Retirement residences will offer you the opportunity to come and try them out first. Winter is a perfect time to make that choice. Just go stay with them for 30 days. Give it a try. And if you like it, you can stay. And if you don't like it, you decide that it's really not for you, then you can go home again. But at least you've tried it. And then you have the opportunity to make an informed decision for yourself. That's what I encourage you to do. Just try to get all of the information and make an informed decision. I hope this video is helpful for you. And if there's any other topic that you would like me to cover, please feel free to leave a comment for me. And I am happy to research it if I don't know the answer and share with you as soon as I can. Thank you. Take care. We'll see you again soon.